We are back. More passing.
In the Betfred Challenge Cup final for 2024.
More ferocity.
Oh, wow!
More young stars to shine.
And it's Grace Banks who goes the length of the field.
Saints are on the drive for 5.
And it's St Helens who are the history makers.
The Valkyrie are hunting the three-peat.
The history makers, the first women's team to retain their title.
Being the first is an act of revolution. Every season, a new step forward.
With the women's game on the greatest stage here at Wembley Stadium. New challenges for the trophy. And Beavers will not be caught from here. Caitlin Beavers.
New barriers broken. There's nothing like Leeds. This is the Betfred Women's Super League.
Yes, welcome to a brand new Betfred Women's Super League season. Up and running last night, of course, courtesy of Wigan and York. And this afternoon, live and exclusive here on the Sportsman Rugby League, St Helens versus Leeds. Alongside me, not playing this afternoon from St Helens, Emily Rudge. Emily, thank you for joining us. I know you'd rather be out there, but this will be a pretty special start to the season, won't it?
Yeah, it should be a great game to start the season off for Saints and for Leeds. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing what both teams can do.
And contrasting routes into this game, obviously St Helens booking their place in Wembley again last week. Leeds missing out. Will that have any bearing on what happens in the next 80 minutes?
Yeah, I think it will do, to be honest. I think Leeds probably won't have been happy with that performance last week from them in the semi-final. I think that was a really tough game for them, so I think they'll probably want to come and definitely fix a couple of things up in this game and prove that they are still, one of the top teams in the league.
It is warm, conditions are perfect. Feels very different, doesn't it, to that start of the season in January, February?
Yeah, definitely. I think I actually prefer the weather like this, much prefer it. It is still tough conditions though, and it will be warm for the girls out there, so that's definitely something they'll factor into playing and making substitutes. But yeah, it should be a great opener.
So two sides ready to get their Betfred Women's Super League campaigns underway. Let's hear from the two head coaches, Lois Forsell and Craig Richards. Craig, straight out of a semi-final, booking your place into Wembley, into the opening game of the Women's Super League season, and a real test against Leeds. How's your week been leading into this?
Yeah, it's been really exciting. We've focused really more on recovery than anything. It was a real tough encounter against York on a very, very hot day, similar to today, really. So the week's been about rest, but we've not obviously taken Leeds lightly. We've done our own work on them, and hopefully we're ready to go.
You paid the price for that win a little bit with some injuries and some players missing, Faye Gaskin, Emily Rudge. How do you kind of shuffle the pack to make sure that you're not too affected by that?
Yeah, listen, two very big misses, two real key players for us, but at the same time it's exciting to bring in other players. Young Caitlin Mealy gets another go at 9, having made a debut a couple of weeks back, so they'll be big misses for us, but one of the focuses is having a really strong squad and players that can come in and the expectations don't dip just because we've got a couple of players missing.
I thought the key theme of that game last week was physicality, certainly in defence. Are you expecting the same again against top opposition? Yeah,
100%. It was one of the areas that we identified last year that, we thought we were really silky with the ball, but there were times where we were putting into dark spots and it was just about arm wrestle, carrying strong, making tackles. So we've worked hard for that and it paid out for us last week. Hopefully today it'll be similar and hopefully we can come out on top again.
How difficult is it going to be over the next few weeks to keep your eyes off Wembley and just focus on the job at hand?
Listen, you'd like to say that we'll just switch off and just concentrate on the league, but obviously I know from my playing days your mind will be on Wembley, so for us it's about directing the girls as much as possible and just trying to get the best out of them for each game. But listen, totally putting out your mind is probably an impossible task.
And proper rugby league conditions there. It's going to be warm out there. There'll be no excuses in terms of errors, but how do you get the bench rotation right and make sure that players have got enough in the tank?
Oh yeah, listen, you start by picking the bench first, and that's what we've done today. We've concentrated on a bench that can, come onto park and speed the game up and just share some energy with the girls that are on. Hopefully the likes of Vicky Whitfield, when she carries the ball strong, it gives the rest of the team a lift. But listen, the girls, we've talked about it, some players are going to have to just play big minutes in tough conditions, but that's why you have a big pre-season, you work hard in pre-season so you can manage the likes of today, and there's really no excuses because the surface is absolutely perfect. We've got the best groundsman in the business.
Well, best of luck today, mate.
Cheers, thank you very much. Thank you.
Nice one. Lois, thank you for joining us. After the Challenge Cup campaign, how good is it to have a fresh slate of a brand new Betfred Women's Super League season?
Yeah, we said to the girls, obviously it's frustrating when you sort of have a game where you're not quite at what your potential is and that you feel like you've not done yourself justice, but that's the great thing of our sport, is that you know, week to week games, so you get to get straight back on the horse and got a game in front of us today, and it's been nice to get back in training with each other, put some things into practice on the training field, and then get back out here today.
And it is that kind of time of year where you sort of not eased yourself into that semi-final, but the way that competition's structured, some easier games, but straight into Wigan and then St Helens, you're doing it, you know, tough at the early stages of the season.
Yeah, but and I think that's what we've all been looking for, though, is them competitive games. It keeps us accountable week in, week out, and I think obviously we showed that we probably didn't get firing in the first 20 minutes against the strong Wigan side, who clearly want to come out the blocks and start strong. And when we weren't quite firing early doors, that put ourselves in a bit of a tough spot in that game. But you know, we've learned from that, and we're looking forward to getting back out there today. And we know that the next sort of 3 weeks is tough games. We've got Saints today, York next week, and then Wigan the week after that. So yeah, we're just looking forward to the games in front of us, and we'll just make sure that we're accountable during the week and look at fixing up anything that we need to.
There's a different look to this Leeds team to the one that we've seen in previous campaigns, some overseas recruitment, but 6 players promoted up from the academy as well. How has that kind of knitted together over pre-season and that Challenge Cup run?
Well, it's been nice for them to have a pre-season. I think about 3 of them girls came in at the back end of last year, but they sort of like jumped in towards the back end, and it was kind of like, you know, do your best, and they've had a pre-season now, and that'll put them in better stead. So I know that they're looking forward to getting back out there this week as well. But like I said, they're young players and they're going to learn week by week, so there's got to be an element of patience from us, and making sure that we're supporting them to be the best they can be. And yeah, young players, and it's early days, so we've got some gelling and combinations to keep working on, and we're just enjoying doing that at the moment.
When you are in the kind of early stages of the season, how important is it going to be to focus on that error rate and keeping that as low as possible today?
Yeah, it is. I think days like today, with it being hot as well, I think, you know, we ended up defending a lot against Wigan last week, because I think we turned over, I think it was 7 out of, we only completed 2 out of 7 sets in the first 20 minutes, so you know, they kind of put yourself in a bit of a tough spot there if you don't want to keep the ball. So that's definitely an area that we need to be a little bit better at, in keeping the ball and making sure that we give ourselves a bit more possession in the right positions on the field.
Well, best of luck today.
Thank you.
Yeah, 2 sides ready to get it all underway in the Betfred Women's Super League. Beautiful conditions here at the Totally Wicked Stadium for this round 1 game. I'm sure these are going to be the conditions all season long. So let's start off with the home side. They start off with Berry Sahili at full-back. It's a wing pairing of Phoebe Hook and Danny McGifford, with Erin Stott and Amy Hardcastle returning to St Helens in the Betfred Women's Super League in the centres. A half-back pairing of Zoe Harris and Caitlin Casey plays behind a pack fronted up by Shani Crowell and Darcy Stott, with Katie Mossethead inside them at hooker. It's a second row of Shona Hoyle and Alex Bridge, and Jodie Cunningham is the captain and the loose forward for St Helens this afternoon. Coming off the bench for the home team, Vicky Whitfield, Georgia Sutherland, Caitlin Mailer and Lucy McColm provide the reinforcements you sense they will be needed in this heat. The visitors, Leeds Rhinos, come into this game on the back of a defeat in the Betfred Challenge Cup semi-finals. They'll be looking to put that right this afternoon. They start off with Ebony Stead at fullback, Sally Breyer and Olivia Whitehead are the wingers. Inside them, Jenna Greening and Wales captain Beffa Dainton are the centre pairing. Former NRLW finalist Melanie Howard makes her Betfred Women's Super League debut in the halves alongside Ruby Walker. It's a front row of Izzy Northorpe, Kira Bennett and Ella Donnelly. In behind them, Shannon Lacey and Lucy Murray, with Kaya Glynn locking in the pack for the Rhinos. Coming off the bench for the visitors, Ruby Bruce, Grace Shaw, Grace Field and Frankie Blakey. So the first 2 competition points of the season up for grabs for these 2 sides here in sunny St Helens, and alongside me to bring you this one for the next 80 minutes, Emily Rudge of St Helens. Emily, great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Not playing this afternoon, should just be a short time on the sidelines.
Yeah, just took a little knock to my knee and got a bit of swelling in there from the semi-final against York, so just resting that and letting the swelling come down, and hopefully be back next week.
It's a funny dynamic, isn't it, the way that the women's season's set up, to
go through that Challenge Cup campaign, have the highs of a semi-final win and booking your place at Wembley, so then having to completely refocus and set your attentions on round one of the league campaign. What's the talk been like in the week about doing that?
Yeah, obviously there is a big focus on the league, but I think, obviously getting to Wembley is massive, so I think that is in the back of our minds, and obviously it's it's in the near future now, that a couple of weeks away from playing a final, even though it is round one of the league. So yeah, I think that's definitely going to be at the back of our minds, but the focus is for Saints today to get the win over Leeds.
Leeds will obviously be disappointed with the way that they went out to Wigan last time around. We saw Wigan put in that performance against York last night, a real sign of intent from them of how much they've improved. But this Leeds side, there's still plenty of talent in there, a lot of the young talent coming through, and we've seen in previous seasons they will be contenders this year.
Oh, 100%. Leeds are always a quality side, and I think probably looking at the scoreline yesterday when Wigan took on York, I think Leeds will probably feel a little bit better about getting beat by Wigan by so much in the semi-final, because Wigan are such a strong team this year, clearly. But yeah, I think Leeds are definitely going to be looking today to come out and start the league as positively as they can, and prove that to everyone that they are still a top four side. Some people might have doubted that off the back of last week's performance, but I know, like you say, that they've got quality players in that squad, and I'm sure they'll show that today.
As we obviously stand with the whole season to come laid out in front of us, we've spoken about the big three in Women's Rugby League for a few years now. Obviously St Helens, Leeds and York, but if anyone wasn't sure, last night will tell you that it's a big four now.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think Wigan have definitely put their front foot forward and shown what they can do. And I think, there's a lot of talk around that squad now, and them going into the final against Saints and against us is going to be a huge game and something that I'm massively looking forward to. I think, we were definitely, I think before that game last night, I think we were still the favourites, having won it 4 times in a row, and a lot of people were talking about that. But I think now Wigan, putting in them performances, I think Wigan, a lot of people are saying Wigan are here to really play this season. So yeah, it's brilliant for the game, and I love that. I want definitely more of the teams to get into that position where every week we're playing competitive games, because that's what we train for and that's what we want to do. So I'm loving that Wigan are competing so much and are competitive, and that's great for everyone.
And those derby days, always a hot occasion in the men's calendar. They're going to be pretty full on now in the women's game as well, aren't they, Saints Wigan?
Yeah, 100%. I love a derby, and now that Wigan are competing so well, I think, like you say, that'll definitely be a fierce contest. So really looking forward to coming up against them in the league and in the final in a couple of weeks' time.
So Elfie Grau building up on that far side here at the Totally Wicked Stadium. Always an exciting time, isn't it? Round one of any league campaign. All the twists and turns and stories still to come in 2025 as we begin on the road to that grand final in October. Right here, right now in St Helens, the first 2 competition points of the season is all that matters for these 2 teams. As we've mentioned a couple of times already, as I'm sure we'll continue to mention throughout the afternoon. It is warm out there. We're tucked up in the gantry, shaded away. Nice and cool up here, but down there in the middle, it will be hard work. We mentioned the bench interchange to the 2 head coaches before the game. That is going to be something that they are going to have to get spot on. But just as we wait for the 2 sides to come out of the tunnel, Emily, every season we talk about the improving standards of the Betfred Women's Super League, but it does feel... I don't want to just say this for cliché purposes, it's genuine. It feels like it's gone up a level again. And when you look at the academy products coming through now, those systems have added a whole different dynamic to it.
Oh yeah, 100%. I just caught a bit of the academy game then before the women. So the under-19s of Leeds and Saints have played before this game, and what talent there was on show. There was some absolutely quality players, so exciting. And like you say, there's really good academy systems set up now that give those players sort of the the platform to play in and thrive in. And I think, the next couple of years of Super League is going to be so brilliant to watch, and it's going to, like you say, improve every year because there's so much talent coming through, and it's just really exciting for the women's game. So hopefully we'll see some of the younger talent out here today. But next couple of years it's going to be brilliant for the women's game.
So here come the two sides. Mel Howard leads out the Leeds Rhinos. Jodie Cunningham leading out her St Helens team into the sunshine here at the Totally Wicked Stadium. Two teams that will be desperate to get their league campaign off to the perfect start. It's a long season, of course. Nothing gets won today, but a huge amount can be done in terms of confidence, form, and how these two teams continue in to the rest of the year. St Helens, of course, with Wembley on the horizon. Leeds with a golden opportunity to put that semi-final disappointment behind them. So here we go, St Helens in the traditional red V on the white strip with the red shorts, and Leeds in their famous blue and amber. It's going to be St Helens who get things underway, kicking from left to right on your screen. So Leeds will get first possession. And you just wonder what the message is from Lois Forsell after that defeat last week. I'm sure she'll be telling them the importance of keeping things error-free. She mentioned the completion rate in the first 20 minutes. They'll want to get that right.
Yeah, definitely really big and important for Leeds to...
So Zoe Harris puts boot to ball. Not the longest of kick-offs, so Leeds will get a little bit of a platform, but for both teams, Emily, this first set, from a St Helens perspective, they'll want to keep it penalty-free, and Leeds will just want to get themselves into a good kicking position and get into the arm wrestles.
Yeah, definitely. You just want to settle into the game and find your feet. But it's like you say, it's really important to complete sets early on. You don't want to lose ball, especially when you're in your own half. So Leeds will just play it out nicely and keep it safe and find the way into the game.
So Kira Bennett brings us out to the right-hand side, and Leeds move into St Helens territory for the first time this afternoon. Bennett again, England international at dummy half.
Surrender!
Still tackles in hand. But this is the last, so the ball will come out to the left to Mel Howard, who puts it high up in the air. Phoebe Hook drifts underneath it for St Helens, takes it well, but it's a good kick chase from Leeds. Hitting her back about 7 or 8 metres away from her own try line. Ebony Stead and Bethan Dainton in there for the Rhinos. And then another strong follow-up from them. Kira Bennett making the tackle, restricting the metres. So St Helens being forced to work out from their own goal line in their first set of the game.
Working the 10, hold! Go free, good work!
Motter's head at dummy half brings us out to Crowell. She's met well by 3 Leeds defenders, but manages to make a few bonus metres off the back of that.
Steps here.
Helps Saints just get themselves out of a little bit of a corner here, and up to the 30-metre mark they go. It's the last, so St Helens will be kicking from deep inside their own territory. And it comes to Casey, former Leeds Rhinos player, of course. Puts boot to ball, Tally Breyer underneath it. Joining the Rhinos from Featherstone Rovers for 2025.
Hold, go on.
And although not a huge amount of metres made by either side on those opening sets, Emily, both will be pleased with the way that they've just got themselves into the game.
I think Leeds defended really well that first set then, and definitely kept Saints within their first half. So now we see them in a better attacking position for this next set. So great defence from Leeds to start the game off.
So Greening plays the ball to Bennett. She brings it out to Howard, who just runs into a little bit of traffic from her own players there. So that move breaks down. Bennett again at dummy half. This time they come out to the left-hand side, and get a bit of confusion between Jenna Greening and Bethan Dainton as to whose ball that was.
Yeah, unfortunate there. I think they just got a little bit in each other's way and caused an obstruction, which means St Helens will get the penalty.
In fact, it was Lucy Murray who just got in the way a little bit there for Dayton, so the kick goes up towards the halfway mark. Moss's Head will get us back underway about 5 metres inside her own half. She plays it out to Harris, who gives it to Kroll, who will just charge into 3 Leeds defenders and bring it into positive real estate. So St Helens into Leeds territory for the first time this afternoon. Moss's again at acting half out to Casey. Now Cunningham, she brings it up to the line and just a short drop-off ball. Better from St Helens in this set in terms of the territory that they've made up. Casey again up to the line and just an inside ball there to Shani Crowell, who brings it up over the 30. Options left and right of the ruck. Moss's Head brings us out to the right to Harris. Bahili into the line. Berry Sahili obviously joined from Wigan a couple of seasons ago. She looks like a player that's really grown into this St Helens side.
Yeah, Berry's definitely growing in a lot of confidence. She's one of the younger players in the squad, but I think she had a great semi-final performance against York, and I think, you know, she should have a great season for Saints. She's trained really well in pre-season.
The first attacking kick of the game takes an awkward bounce and could force a repeat set, but I think we're going to come back for St Helens knock on. It will be Leeds play the ball, but just cut across you there, as we were saying. A number of players, Sahili, that have kind of broken their way into this side in the last 12 months, and there seems to be a real kind of just natural progression within St Helens at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a good academy set up, and Jodie does a lot of hard work in that, bringing girls through. So yeah, it's great when we see the younger players coming through and doing well in the first team.
So Murray plays the ball for Leeds. Kira Bennett again, just directing traffic from dummy half up towards the 30.
Wait for the foot. Go free, good work. Keep it up, Saints.
The offload away, Bennett there again, just following up from dummy half, and then she gets the ball away. This is good from Leeds up towards halfway. I'm going to come back for a penalty.
Contact on Kira Bennett. She loses height, but there's head contact.
Head contact on Kira Bennett, mitigating circumstances, so nothing more than a penalty, but an opportunity for Leeds to march themselves downfield a bit more. And I think Lois Fussell and the Rhinos, after the start of the game they had against Wigan last week, will be really pleased with this.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think Leeds have definitely shown just in the first couple of minutes that they're here to play and you know, attacking and defending really well. So let's see what they can do in this set.
So all the options stacked out to the left-hand side, and that's the way that Leeds come. And now Howard looks to apply some width. Here's Dainton trying to get on the outside of Hook, but Phoebe Hook does really well to make the tackle and end what was a dangerous-looking play from the Rhinos. So out they come again to the right-hand side, and it's a forward pass just before Lucy Murray ran into some stern defence. But Leeds' first real attacking look at the St Helens line finishes in an error.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with Leeds. They're looking like they've got good attacking shape, you know, and they're shifting the ball well, as we've seen then. But then it's just a couple of mistakes off the back of that. So I think it's really important that if they can complete their set, you know, that they will start to look dangerous in this game.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, good.
So St Helens scrum, bang at centre field in between the tram lines.
Make sure you're all the way in, bind properly. When you're ready, Zoe, Hoey.
Zoe Harris feeds the ball, and Moss's Head from loose forward gives it out to Berry Sahili, who looks to try and apply a little bit of footwork late into the line. She's eventually wrapped up on the 30. Moss's Head again, Saints just keeping it tight for the time being and letting the middles try and work things upfield. Moss's Head goes herself on this occasion up towards halfway, and some decent yards made from that little scoop from dummy half. Harris now in at acting half, gives it to Cunningham, who doesn't have a huge amount of space to work with. She's stopped for just a couple of metres gain. Still dead centre, St Helens. Now Crowell brings it out. Thought about maybe just applying a little bit of width, but keeps it in hand. This is the last, so important kick on the way as Harris puts boot to ball, and it's not the best. It's spiralling around all over the place. Hook gets underneath it, but can't bring it in cleanly, and a disappointing end to that set from the Saints perspective.
That's not usually Zoe's kicking stance. She's definitely got a better boot on her than that.
Now it could be away down this left-hand side, still going.
Referee said play on.
Olivia Whitehead still going, stepping away, trying to get away from Mottershead and Cunningham. Eventually is wrapped up, but Leeds straight away into an attacking position, and we've seen that poor kick already costing them in terms of yardage here. So again, Leeds looking to promote the ball with an offload, and this is Ruby Walker trying to step away and get herself through a gap for Leeds.
Yeah.
Quick play the ball.
Leeds are looking like they're playing quick, and they're shifting the ball, getting ready to play.
Some more meters made. Leeds just 5 away from the St Helens line, sniffing out the first points of this round 1 clash. Not the best pass, so Howard has to just check back and mop things up, but that's a good ball over the top to Dainton. Hook does well to get across and close down the space, and then Zoe Harris in there to make the covering tackle. This is the last. Again, it's not the best ball from dummy half. The grubber kick comes in. Crowd's there to deal with it, but it will be a repeat set, and
I think
almost
Leeds
a different story, isn't it, at the
really
end of that
happy
set?
with that. Yeah, that's a good set from them. You know, putting Saints under a bit of pressure there on their line. So yeah, that's great from from Leeds. Sorry, and they'll get another set here. Just interesting seeing Beth and Dayton just playing out quite a lot wider than normal. I think she's in the centres. But it actually looks like she might be on the wing. For a couple of attacking sets, then she was running towards Phoebe Hook. So yeah, that's interesting for Leeds. A couple of players maybe slightly out of position to normal.
Yeah, as her shirt number says, Bethan Dayton, a loose forward usually by trade, playing in the centres today. And as you've picked up on, it looks like Leeds playing very tight to the sideline on this left edge with Olivia Whitehead, and that's the way they come again. So here is Dainton again looking to engage Hook. They have got the overlap. Whitehead has to just check back inside, but still manages to make a couple of metres. So another good attacking platform for Leeds. Bennett at dummy half then brings it out to the right. Mel Howard will just keep it in hand. Options on both sides for Bennett. Right hand side she comes again. Ruby Walker in the 7 jersey, just directing play for the time being for Leeds. This is the last, so another opportunity to put an attacking kick in. Out they come to Howard. It's a big tall kick up into the air, which dodges everyone and then bounces back awkwardly, and it's another repeat set. But just for a second, a few hearts in mouths there.
Yeah, definitely. It's not great when the ball's kicked over like that and drops into your goal area. It's always dangerous, but I think, you know, Saints did what they needed to there. Probably would have liked to catch the ball on the full and run it out so that they're not having to defend again, but they're under a bit more pressure now, Saints, and I think Leeds are hungry to score the first points.
So Ebony Stead takes the drop out on the full and brings it up towards the 18-yard line. Bennett again can choose either side. It's the left-hand side that she does come to Howard. Howard fires a short pass to Lucy Murray, who's up over the 10. Leeds knocking on the door. St Helens holding firm for the time being, but then here comes Melanie Howard, who's up over the line but held up. So again, St Helens just holding out for the time being.
Yeah, I think Jodie Cunningham just coming over and just wrapping that ball up, securing it and making sure she couldn't get it down. So good defence from Saints.
So Leeds now changing the point of attack and coming over to the right-hand side with Shannon Lacey trying to force her way over. I think she'll be held up as well. She is. So twice Leeds have breached that St Helens line, but unable to get the ball down on either occasion. Now they come left, ball out to Dainton, who rides one tackle, and she stopped just a couple of metres short. More good defence from St Helens, needed on their goal line. Bennett will go from dummy half. Has she got this down? The Leeds players like it, the referee likes it, and Leeds Rhinos open the scoring here at the Totally Wicked Stadium. And you have to say it's been coming.
Yeah, definitely. Leeds have been building that pressure really nicely. Had, I think, 3 repeats set on Saints' line there, so they've, you know, finally come up with the reward and got themselves a try. Really good spot from Kira Bennett. I think Saints' markers and the sort of first defenders were just a little bit wide there. So, you know, St Helens definitely won't be happy with that. You know, we had a similar sort of try scored against us against York and done some work on that in the week. So, you know, that'll be disappointing for them, but, you know, a great spot from Kira.
She's so lively, isn't she? Kira Bennett. She's moved into that England setup now and
Yeah.
always a threat.
Definitely, and I think, you know, the nines like Kira really come alive, especially when the defenders have done back-to-back sets and they're a little bit tired. I think that's, you know, that's a great position for a nine to be in, and they're always looking up and spotting the gaps and who's looks like they're, you know, not getting off the floor quick enough or not getting back, not getting set, and a good nine can always spot that, and I think Kira's done that there.
So the conversion attempt just pushed to the left-hand side of the sticks by Melanie Howard. Her Betfred Women's Super League debut, joining from overseas, NRLW experience in Australia. Former Women's State of Origin player, of course, for New South Wales, a NRLW finalist in 2020 with the Sydney Roosters, so loads of pedigree and experience coming over to the Betfred Women's Super League.
Yeah, I think that's really exciting that we've got some new players in the Women's Super League this year, and quite a few Australian players coming through in different teams. So, you know, they'll bring experience and their own game, which is really exciting.
Well, he's nearly making a mess of that kick-off, but bringing it in cleanly in the end and starting this set from the 30-metre mark, so not a bad platform. The Rhinos will just be looking to consolidate a little bit after getting that first try of the afternoon. From a St Helens perspective, obviously no doubt that they're in a game here. What will the talk be of just weathering this little storm?
Yeah, I think Saints won't be too worried, and they were under a lot of pressure there, and, you know, they will be disappointed to concede the first amount of points, but, you know, they know they're in a game, and I think we never underestimated Leeds. Anyway, we knew they were going to come out all guns blazing, so yeah, it's good to see that they're doing that and they're
still going
well.
here, Leeds. Lucy Murray making good progress, and now the Rhinos on the front foot again, immediately sniffing out more points. Kayla Glynn stopped just short. Here's Howard, steps back inside. Shanna Crowell gets out to her. She's taken a knock here.
Yeah.
Howard just getting up a bit gingerly.
Yeah.
Take a step, Rhinos.
She's lost the ball in the tackle as well, so that is going to be the turnover at the end of that set.
Yeah, that might have been the last anyway. But again, Saints are having to come out from their try line and having to work hard here now to get into a decent position. Good defence again there from Leeds, just driving Saints winger Danny McGifford back.
Feels like a big set this from St Helens' perspective. They want to get some territory. They've not seen much of the Leeds Rhinos half at all in this game. We've been looking pretty much entirely to our left for the first 16 minutes.
Yeah, not too much possession for Saints.
Oh, that's a really good offload as Mottershead can reload. So Cunningham in at dummy half. Brings us out to the left-hand side to Casey, thinks about the kick and just steps a couple of Leeds defenders, still going, just ran out of options a little bit there.
Yeah,
this is the last.
Caitlin Casey playing in the halves today. She has been playing 9 for Saints, but obviously with Faye being out with concussion, Caitlin stepped into the halves for today.
So the kick goes up. Olivia Whitehead safe underneath it, but wrapped up well by Phoebe Hook. Such an advantage, isn't it, having players like that who have that versatility that can drop in at 9 into the halves, anywhere in the spine.
Yeah, we've got quite a few players actually who can play multiple positions at Saints. So I think that's always, like you say, a big bonus when you do get a couple of injuries. Other people can just slot really nicely into those positions.
Surrender!
So Tali Baraya coming in off her wing to get involved in the action and try and get her team upfield. Leeds now coming out to the right-hand side. And they reload to try and put Ebony Stead through a gap up the middle. She gets the ball away to Bennett. Leeds really prominent in the offload game in the first 20 minutes or so, 18 minutes or so of this game. Earning themselves a few extra metres from it as Howard puts boot to ball and Hook drifts underneath it, takes it cleanly. But again, the kick chase on that left-hand side is good from Leeds. And St Helens again find themselves with a little bit of a hole to dig themselves out of here. buried into that far corner.
Yeah, I think we're just seeing one of Saints' first interchanges now where Vicky Whitfield's coming on in the middle, so that'll hopefully give Saints a bit of energy. She always has a big boost off the bench, and this is her first carry now.
Straight away. Carry from deep, getting ball in hand, legs pumping, and immediately finds her front. So instant impact from Whitfield, and Saints on the front foot now for the first time in quite a while in this game, it feels. Cunningham will play the ball just inside the St Helens half. Out there comes to Casey, who now puts boot to ball, and it's a bobbly one which will just find the touchline on the 30-metre mark. But straight away, Vicky Whitfield just speeding the game up and getting Saints moving forward.
Yeah, I love it when Vicky comes on. She's such an impactful, powerful player and runs so hard. So, especially when you've done sort of 20 minutes and you're a little tired from the initial start of the game, and then Vicky comes on full of energy. It's always a positive.
And then getting stuck in defensively as well.
Quick, hold, stand and play. Go on.
So Bennett brings Leeds out to the right-hand side again.
2, move, steps here, keep working, hold.
Leeds
Traps, traps, go 2.
Slightly slower than perhaps they'd have liked here.
It's good contact from Shona Hoyle and Vicky Whitfield. Katie Motter said just adding in the numbers there in the defence.
And psychologically, if Saints can start to just pin Leeds back a little bit in their own sets, that might be the first step to just turning the tide in this game a little bit, as Leeds now do step into St Helens territory for the first time in this set. Bennett again brings us out to the left. Boot to ball from Howard, looking to just try and turn that St Helens back free around. Has she weighted it well enough? I think it's just going to rotate a couple of times too many.
Yeah.
Almost spot on, but
Yeah.
it will be a 20-metre tap and perhaps just a little bit of a let-off from a Saints perspective.
Yeah.
0 to come.
I think Leeds are looking great in the first 20 minutes of this game. I think this is definitely more the Leeds that we expected to see. And I'm really pleased that they've come out and performing like I know that the talent in their squad can do. I think the crowd's been calling for that offside for quite a while now. So there was a big cheer then when the referees give that offside.
Yeah, the Saints fans over on that far side, getting into the game.
Yeah,
An opportunity to just get some territory back, although
Yeah.
again, it's another semi-shanked kick.
Yeah, to be honest, I think missing Faye is usually the kicker for Saints, who takes penalties. I think even from kick-off then, I don't know if you noticed at the initial kick-off at the start of the game, we was like, who's actually kicking this? And I think they sort of, Caitlin and Zoe sort of looked at each other and said, who's doing it, me or you? So yeah, just finding the feet with those kicks for Zoe Harris.
Such an important part of the St Helens side, isn't she, Gaskin? The Saints now come out to the right-hand side, and Hook just running out of space, has to put the offload back inside, but it's gone to ground. And
yeah, unfortunate there, I think.
Is this going to touch?
So it will be Leeds ball. Referee just talking us through his decision-making process. It will be a scrum to the Rhinos, who can choose where they want it. They're going to get dead
Yeah, it
centre.
looked like it opened up quite nicely for Berry, and then Phoebe had a bit of work to do there just on the edge. The defence from Leeds was really good, just covering across and just, closing down that space and making it really tough for Phoebe to get anywhere.
So Leeds again with ball in hand, coming out of their own territory.
Go, moving up.
Just feel like since that bench rotation from Saints, the tide has just turned a little bit.
Yeah.
Starting to force Leeds a little bit deeper.
Yeah, we've now got Georgia Sutherland on in the middle as well, so we've got two fresh props in the middle, which hopefully will bring a bit of energy for Saints, because they definitely need it in attack and defence, and just get their foot in back.
Leeds have rotated their bench as well. Grace Field onto the field for the Rhinos.
Yeah, really pleased to see Grace Field out there, actually. I don't think Grace has had too much playing time this season, so it's really good to see her in a Leeds shirt today, and hopefully she can show what she's capable of.
So they come to the left. Howard puts another high one up. Hook, safe as houses as she has been all afternoon.
Yeah, I think they're really favouring just kicking down there to that left-hand side where Phoebe is.
A big contact going in from Grace Field into the action.
Yeah, she's well known for that, Grace. She's a real hard hitter in the middle, and definitely should see some of them big tackles from her today.
Yeah, we've seen her rearrange a few ribs, haven't we, over the last few years in the Betfred Women's Super League, but a penalty on this occasion for a high shot, so Saints just starting to get up in the penalty count a little bit. They want to take better advantage of that than they have, and again the kick from Harris is
just bounced
the
over
alternative route to the sideline, but it does get there in the end.
That was very lucky then for Saints. I think that could have easily been taken from Leeds, and that would have been a disappointing penalty, but they're in a better position attacking wise here.
And into St Helens, Leeds Rhinos half, so starting this set probably in the best field position they've started a set all game. And Whitfield again just shrugging off a couple of tacklers and getting a nose through the line. And now Casey brings us out to the left-hand side. So Healy into the line, steps back in. Almost finds a half gap to slip through, but wrapped up eventually. Moss's head out to Casey again. Casey to Harris. Harris has Whitfield as an inside option, but comes out to the right-hand side, and it was a pass was a little bit wobbly for Callaghan to bring in, a bit behind her, and a disappointing error from a Saints perspective, but Leeds will be pleased that they've seen that out.
Yeah, definitely a very uncharacteristic error from Jodie there, very, very rarely. Drops the ball. I think the pass might have just had a little bit too much weight on it from Zoe. So yeah, Saints again looking like they had good attacking shape, but can't quite make that pass to capitalise on it. So Leeds get the ball again, and I think the possession is more heavily weighted in Leeds' favour so far.
So out Leeds come to the right hand side with Ruby Walker, who still going, forced backwards in the end, all the way back to the 30.
There from Amy Hardcastle and George Sutherland.
The referee. No penalty, but he's just going to bring Leeds back for the yards that were stolen after he called held. Good referee in that, just calling the game back and getting on with things. Leads up towards halfway. So Bennett to Howard. Howard short ball to Grace Field, who carries up towards the 40. 25 minutes played here at St Helens. Leeds Rhinos lead 4 points to 0. First round of the Betfred Women's Super League as Dainton takes the ball high above her head and brings it in cleanly before firing into that St Helens line on this left edge. This is the last, so the kick will come about 30 metres away from the St Helens line. It's towards the right-hand side on this occasion, but
it's well taken by Danny McGifford, and she just returns the ball well for Saints there, for them to start their set on the 20-metre line.
Another player, Danny McGifford, with such a fascinating route in to Rugby League and the Betfred Women's Super League, a former heptathlete, so just one of those people who's just good at sport.
Yeah, she's so athletic, Danny. She was a sprinter growing up, so, you know, she's got so much pace when she gets in a bit of space on the field. But, you know, I'm really pleased to see her finding her feet in the Saints squad now that we've got an injury with Leah Burke, so she's, you know, secured her position on the wing there and doing really well.
The Saints making some healthy progress up the middle here. Georgia Sutherland will play the ball on the 40. This is the last, so an opportunity perhaps to try and pin Leeds into a corner. The kick from Casey's taken cleanly by Olivia Whitehead, who'll bring it straight back up towards the 30. There's a real cut and thrust to this game now, a real arm wrestle. Neither team showing much sign of cracking yet.
Definitely, I think both sides are really competing. There's been some big carries, big hits, and you know it's a great game to watch so far.
Kira Bennett rotated off for Leeds Rhinos, a try scorer. She's replaced by Ruby Bruce in the 14 jersey. Big first stint from the England international at 9. I'm sure she'll have plenty to say in the second half as well, as Bruce now brings us out to Field. Field up over the 40. Again, this is the last, and for both teams, this game feels like it's being played in between the two 30s at the moment in terms of where sets are being finished.
Yeah.
That kick takes a horrible bounce, though, and there could be an opportunity for Leeds, and again, it just rolls dead. But a couple of occasions now, that high kick has just caused St Helens some issues.
Yeah, definitely. I think Saints have been lucky again there, really. There could have been a Leeds player on the end of that, and that could have seen him secure some more points. So I think they'll definitely want to fix that up and just make sure they're secure and not let that ball bounce. I think it's really hard to see as well sometimes with the sun so bright today. I think, you know, when the ball does bounce up, that it's getting lost. So yeah, that's something that Saints will want to fix up quickly.
Well, good defensive pressure again from Leeds, just pinning St Helens into their own territory. Sutherland, the next cab off the rank up towards the 30-metre mark. Motter's head at 9 to Cunningham. Cunningham short ball to Casey, who's wrapped up straight away by 2 Leeds defenders and then forced back. So
It's good defence from Leeds.
No progress made from Saints on that occasion. Hardcastle now will just try the direct route and try and break the door down against their former teammates. Motter's head. Casey does well to pick that ball up from her ankles and put a kick in. Whitehead picks it up, manages to bring it in cleanly. She brings it up towards the 40. Mel Howard in an acting half.
There's not been too many stoppages in the game as well, so I feel like, you know, with it being hot and there being relentless sort of back-to-back sets, it's hard work, and I think you will start to see now some cracks in either side where people are getting tired and missing tackles, and that'll make the difference.
Yeah, fitness will play a part, won't it, in the second half especially. Both teams have had a run of games into this in the Challenge Cup, but not many times in those games where they've been involved in these kind of situations, in these kind of conditions.
Yeah, definitely. So it is a big test for both sides, and I think at the minute both teams are coping well, so it's just keeping the momentum going and seeing...
Now another tricky bounce. Leeds could be in here. Oh, and it just
so
takes
unfortunately
a couple too many rotations, but that is something that St Helens are going to have to speak about at the break, isn't it? The way that they're not dealing with these fifth tackle options.
Definitely. We can't keep chancing that. That is just so risky to leave that ball and just let it bounce again. You know, Leeds, they've got 4 or 5 people there all charging down, chasing for the ball, really hungry to get the points. So, you know, sooner or later, if that keeps happening, they're going to get on the end of it and reap the rewards from that.
And it's very easy to play the game from up here, but it does feel on, you know, a few of those occasions it's just been as simple as communication and no one taking ownership of it.
Yeah, potentially. So that'll be something that Saints need to fix, because again, you know, they're under a little bit of pressure now from Leeds.
So Leeds with a deep shape stacked to this left-hand side, and that is the way they come. Stead out to Dainton, who again does well to bring that ball in.
Keeping it alive nicely, making Saints really work.
Ruby Bruce just gets away, still going. Eventually wrapped up and forced back into the field of play. Still tackles in hand. Leeds try again.
Oh my
Could be in for a second.
I think they are.
Just trying to see who it is that's got their way, forced their way over.
Was it Ella Donnelly, I think, maybe? Oh, Izzy Northrop has scored that.
Northrop
Yeah,
has just come in,
charged over the line
from the right-hand side and hit that short line to score.
Yeah, Saints again. I think, you know, like you say, they've put themselves under a pressure there from that kick and not, you know, taking that well. And then Leeds have got some good attacking position, built a bit of pressure, and have managed to get the 4 points. So, you know, Saints are now, I think, will be starting to feel that and will be really quite disappointed, I think, that they're not completing the sets and then, you know, not fielding those kicks. Just a crash over there from Izzy, just on a short line, but just managed to get the better of a couple of the Saints players there. So good work from her. But I think Saints need to just be a little bit tighter at the ruck and make sure that we're not getting those little scoots or crash over. You know, making sure that the
it's interesting, isn't it? Saints have done a pretty good job of defending the stuff that's come from deep,
yeah.
And then on both tries conceded have been from probably a combined range of about 2 metres, but Leeds doing a really good job around the ruck of just spotting when there is a little bit of space, a little bit of confusion, and taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
So Melanie Howard with an opportunity to turn 4 into 6 and an 8-point lead into a 10-point lead as we just get a little bit closer to half-time here at Totally Wicked Stadium. Boot to ball, looks like it's just going to squeeze over, and it does. So Melanie Howard has her first points in the Betfred Women's Super League, and Leeds Rhinos, after a real disappointing semi-final outing last week against Wigan, 33 minutes into this game, will be very, very pleased with their work.
Oh yeah, I think Leeds will be buzzing. I think the Leeds fans will be buzzing with this performance as well. And you know, Saints have had a tough game against York in the semi-final, but we're really up for this game. So I think Saints are going to be quite disappointed going in at half-time if they can't score any more points in the next couple of minutes now. You know, that's going to be a real disappointing half-time talk, and probably the first time this season Saints have been in that position where we're on the back foot in the first half of the game.
Yeah, work to do for Craig Richards and Derek Harvin at the break. I think the difficult thing from a St Helens perspective is that I can't think of a single good ball set that they've had. They've not had an opportunity to put on any shape or any kind of attacking play.
Really not. I think every time they've been up here, they've had maybe one attacking shot and then dropped the ball. That was a great run there from Lucy Murray.
Yeah, she's made some real good contributions on this left-hand side.
Yeah, and then a great little
Ruby
scoop from
Bruce,
Bruce.
but just loses the ball. So after some really good work from Ruby Bruce.
Yeah, just started to build up a little bit more momentum than Leeds, and then unfortunately just lost the ball. So Saints will be pleased with that now, and hopefully they can just settle in, getting the ball on the 40, and find like their attacking ways and get into some good field position.
So Saints opting to take the scrum centre field. Stack shape
Mission body properly when you're ready to do it. In, out!
On both sides, and it's the right hand side that they come to, with Sahili just wrapping around the back of the scrum. She'll take it in herself up towards halfway mark.
I think Saints will just be looking to complete this set now and making sure that they're not making any mistakes.
Big carry from Shona Hoyle, but met by a huge contact from Lucy Murray. And now Whitfield crashes in, turning into a real firefight in between the tram lines in the middle of the field as Georgia Sutherland now looks to add some impetus. She'll play the ball just short of the 30-metre line. They'll come skinny side.
And that's Alex Bridge on the ball there, who's just played in the second row. So this is the first outing that Alex has had this season in a Saints shirt, so hoping she has a good game.
Harris puts the kick through, and she's split the Leeds back three, who are going to have to deal with this from behind their own goal line. Saints looking to force a repeat set, and they will do. Good work from Phoebe Hook.
Yeah, they'll be pleased with that. That's a lot better from Saints there. Really good work from Phoebe to chase that and just to make sure she gets that tackle in there.
36 minutes into this game, Saints will get what really feels like their first attacking platform.
Yeah.
4 minutes to try and get some points on the board before the break.
Yeah, they'll be, again, like I say, looking to complete and making sure they keep hold of this ball in this position.
So Sutherland carries from deep up towards the 20-metre mark, looks to try and find her front and get a quick play the ball. And it isn't bad, so Mottershead now scoots out from the left-hand side and goes through, and Mottershead could be in. Field just does enough to get across and wrap her up, but Mottershead eventually shepherded over the line. From nothing there, Mottershead just slicing through.
Just stepping her way through.
And for the first time this afternoon, we get to have a look at Leeds in goal line defence. Harris up towards the 10. Short ball to Sahili, who again is met by
this is a lot more positive
Stefan
for
Dayton
Saints.
on that near side. So Harris, Mottershead in at second receiver. Cunningham will just look to ramp it up. She's stopped 10 metres short. Still tackles in hand for St Helens. Mottershead again to the left. Casey brings it up to the line. Short drop-off ball. Bridge stops just a few metres away. This is the last. Mottershead to Whitfield, who crashes over.
Great crash over from Vicky.
And just like Leeds have done on 2 occasions, Saints from short range Just a simple ball out. Whitfield hits a nice line and goes over for St Helens' first points of the afternoon.
That's tough to stop when Vicky's coming on a short ball there and just carrying strong over the line. I think, you know, she got the better of a defender, but, you know, she's hard to stop anyway, and when she's so close to the line like that, to just crash over. But a great little ball from Katie Mottershead, and Vicky just gets the 4 points.
You've got the ruck speed very good. I think just keep it at that, maintain it, keep talking to the wingers in the centre as well.
Mottershead, real impact right across that set. That break that took Leeds right onto the line, and then just having the vision to see that short ball to Vicky Whitfield was on.
Yeah, and all of a sudden now it feels like, you know, the scoreline is a lot closer than as reflected the first half. You know, this should be a comfortable kick for Zoe, and the score at half-time should be 10-6. But yeah, that's the first time really Saints have been in an attacking position, and I think they'll be really pleased from that when they have been in that position, they've managed to score points.
And it is one of those boring sporting cliches, but what a good time to score just a minute before the break.
Yeah, that's a little kick in the gut for Leeds, because I think they would have been I think they'll still be really pleased with that first half performance, you know, and to keep Saints out for that long and to score 2 tries is really pleasing for them. But I think, you know, that is a little disappointing to just let them in just before half time there, and, you know, make the score seem a lot closer than probably what it has played out like.
Oh, she's pushed the conversion to the right-hand side, so it will just stay.
Well, I've cursed her there, I think.
Yeah, it's a very real thing, Emily, the commentator's curse. It's a burden we all bear. But it is 4 points on the board for St Helens, and they will feel much better going into the break at half-time for it. Good time to remind you that clock on your screen is not connected to the referee's watch. It is just a guide, but as you've mentioned, Emily, there's not too many stoppages, there's not too many breaks in this game, so I wouldn't expect there to be long left to play. A low kick-off, a bit of a tricky one for Hardcastle to take, but take it in she does, and then gets the legs pumping and tries to bust through that Leeds line, as we've seen her do so many times throughout her career. Back in the Red V this season, of course, after a spell with the Leeds Rhinos.
Yeah, I think that Amy, Caitlin and Shona will all want to be, you know, putting in a good performance today against their old side. So
big defence flying in from Leeds to shut down Georgia Sutherland. Mottershead again just takes a step out, and it could be through here. Shona Hoyle. Stead does a good job at fullback just to shut things down, but Shona Hoyle has got St Helens on the front foot, and an opportunity perhaps to go back-to-back in the dying moments of this first half. Sahili stepping one way and then the other, wrapped up eventually by Lucy Murray. But that will be that for the first 40 here at the Totally Wicked Stadium, and I have to say, it's been a very, very entertaining 40 minutes of rugby league. Leeds Rhinos, very, very good for 38 minutes of that game, keeping St Helens out. Vicky Whitfield's try just before the break, bringing the score back to a 6-point game.
Yeah, real competitive first half. Really good from both sides. You know, it's been a tough competition, so a lot to play for in this second half now, the open game.
We'll just remind ourselves then of how that first 40 minutes of this round 1 Betfred Women's Super League clash unfolded. And it was Leeds who made the bright start, got ball in hand early, enjoyed some possession and made it count. Kira Bennett just spotting the gap at dummy half and having the vision and the strength to force her way over for the first 4 points. Just see again Leeds getting on the front foot, coming from deep. And we mentioned it a couple of times. They threw some shape at St Helens, and the Saints' defence seemed level to it. And then just perhaps a little bit of switching off. I mean, that looks like pure power, to be fair, from Izzy Northrop, just forcing her way over there.
Yeah, I think both of them tries then, it just looked like they couldn't quite get their hands on the ball, and they just managed to to push it over, but I think it's similar sort of things from Vicky now when she just crashes over. Again, just sort of one defender there, Gracefield left on her own, and has a tough job stopping Vicky getting over the line.
So 40 minutes played here at the Totally Wicked Stadium. It is St Helens with a narrow lead at the break. 10 points to 4, courtesy of tries from Kira Bennett and Izzy Northrop. Vicky Whitfield with the reply for St Helens. So 40 more minutes on the way to settle this one. Round 1 of the Betfred Women's Super League, and of course in a few weeks' time we are off to Wembley for Betfred Challenge Cup Finals Day. St Helens in the final again, the holders. And of course tomorrow it's the Women's FA Cup Final, Manchester United looking to defend their trophy. And a couple of weeks ago, United captain Maya Le Tissier sat down with Rugby League's very own Jodie Cunningham.
We are back. More passing.
In the Betfred Challenge Cup Final for 2024.
More ferocity.
Oh, my word!
More young stars to shine.
And it's Grace Banks who goes the length of the field.
Saints are on the drive for 5.
And it's St Helens who are the history makers.
The Valkyrie are hunting the three-peat.
The history makers, the first women's team to retain their title.
Being the first is an act of revolution. Every season, a new step forward.
With the women's game on the greatest stage here at Wembley Stadium. New challenges for the trophy. And Beavers, big call from here. Caitlin Beavers.
New barriers broken. There's nothing like Leeds. This is the Betfred Women's Super League.
Phoebe Hawke. Phoebe Nook. Anna Davis. I would say Anna Davies. Anna Davies.
Lee Burke.
Tyler Jane Stanley, she's pretty quick, good footwork, yeah. I hate being put on the spot. Power, power, power. Amy Aircastle. Vicky Whitfield. Vicky Molyneux. Vicky Whitfield. Oh, what about like Rhiannon Marshall from York?
I was like, ooh, Jodie Cunningham, she's strong, isn't she? Yeah, definitely.
Tara Stanley. Oh, Leah Burke. Leah Burke. Leah Burke. Ebony from York.
Ebony Partington. Leah Burke, yeah.
Probably Tranny Crowell. Emily Ridge. Shona Hoyle. Shona Hoyle. Emily Ridge just brings the energy.
Paige Travis.
Paige Travis. I know Paige a little bit. She's played alongside. She's hilarious.
Alright, so this is both
These are cops?
yes, so Wembley.
These are...
Yeah. These ones. This was the first time the women's game had ever been played at Wembley. So the first women's rugby league team to ever play there, because the Challenge Cup for the men has always been there. So it's got like this big history, big competition for us, like, you know, go down south.
Is that like the same as the FA Cup?
Yeah, similar thing.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
Was you captain as well?
Yeah, captain.
Wow.
Yeah. So getting to lift the trophy was pretty cool, like all the confetti playing.
Oh, yeah. That's the main bit, the confetti.
Yeah, it was the confetti, the tunes, love it. What about you?
Yeah, no, it was, we played the year before against Chelsea and lost 1-0. So we've been on the flip side of it. The year before we got beat, so and that was our first time being in the final. But yeah, managed to get there, and then we beat Spurs in the final 4-0. Yeah, it was such a good day out.
Yeah.
It was so nice.
Tough semi, meaning you had a great prep for final, that's what it is.
Yeah, true. But I think we knew, deep down we knew that there was no, like, we were going to win that game. Like, there was nothing, we'd already felt what it was like the year before not to win it. Yeah. So there was no way we weren't going to win that again. We weren't going to lose it again, so yeah, we made sure we got our hands on the trophy, and it was,
got the bug now.
Honestly.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
fingers crossed. I'll be cheering you on.
Yeah, thank you.
Jennifer Vista. Yep. She might be a bit oblivious as to what's going on, but I'm sure she'd pick it up.
Savannah, because she's on my side and she's just always there, puts on the big hits, and I can step back a little bit and not do much defence.
Kira Bennett. Yeah. Danny Bone.
Sam Helens.
Tori Blackwood. This is going to be atrocious.
Oh, this one looks more like a cat.
Oh no, I'm not good.
I'm normally quite good at art, but this is not the one.
What's my like the Snapchat emoji?
My mum's going to be disappointed. This is so bad. I think I've done it. I think I've done it.
Alright, this is what we got.
Oh my god.
I'm really sorry.
It's like a dinosaur. It's not that bad. I mean, it is quite bad.
Oh, I forgot the shield and the stripes, but yeah, that's not too bad.
Do you like the crest?
There's nothing like Leeds. This is the Betfred Women's Super League.
Yeah, welcome back. Great to have you with us on the Sportsman Rugby League. 40 minutes gone in this round one tie in the Betfred Women's Super League, and it is Leeds Rhinos 10, St Helens 4 here at the Totally Wicked Stadium. An enthralling first stanza in this game. 40 more minutes on the way to settle it. Alongside me from St Helens, Emily Roger. Emily, what will the talk be like in these two dressing rooms?
I think probably for Leeds, Lois will be saying that she wants to see more of the same, and for them to keep doing what they're doing. You know, they're working really hard. It seems like they've got good energy about them in both attack and defence, and you know they've got success on the back of that. So I think Lois will be pleased and asking for more of the same. And then I think for Declan Craig in St Helens dressing room, they'll be asking the girls to complete the sets, to keep hold of the ball, to work the way into the Leeds half, and make sure that they are, working hard on the line defence and not allowing them to just have them little crash over and scoot through tries anymore. So tighten up a little around the ruck and keep hold of the ball basically.
So the Rhinos back out for the second half. We've mentioned the conditions. We've mentioned the fact that it's been a quick game, not many stoppages as well. When do you expect to see sort of fitness and that kind of thing just come into play a little bit?
I think it can come into play if you've had sort of a tough set and then you go back-to-back sets like we see in Leeds do. That's tough, especially if you've made a couple of tackles back-to-back on the bounce and you're working hard on your line, then, even fitness can play its part then. But with it being warm and stuff, I think, this second half will be tougher for both sides. So we'll see who comes out on top. I think both sides have shown really positive things so far. So it's just who can keep that momentum going really and come out on top in the second half.
So Leeds shuffling the pack a little bit, shuffling the back line I should say. It's Kira Bennett back onto the field of play. Ruby Walker has come off. We're not sure at this stage if that's tactical or enforced through to injury. It'll be interesting to see just how they shuffle that spine and who drops into 9. Obviously Kira Bennett's more natural position. As we await St Helens, just getting a few last minute instructions I'm sure before coming back out for the second half.
Yeah, Saints will definitely want to start this second half now with a bit of a bang and have a good exit set, should I say, off their line.
So here they come, Caitlin Casey leading out St Helens, the crowd on that far side making some noise, trying to gee their team on in this second half. A little bit of work to do, 6 points behind.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be too worried at this point in the game. There's still obviously like a full second half for Saints, and like I said earlier, I think a big positive for Saints is that when they did get an attacking position, they did manage to score. So I think, you know, that's really positive. It's always quite demoralising when you're constantly, you know, working and you can't get over the line if you're always attacking up there. But as Saints have not had much opportunity, I think they'll be pleased with getting those points.
So back underway here at the Totally Wicked Stadium, and again that bouncing ball just betraying St Helens a little bit, and Leeds straight away on the front foot.
Not the start Saints wanted there.
So Ruby Bruce, it looks like she stayed at dummy half, brings it out to the left-hand side, and Mel Howard steps through the line to score her first Betfred Women's Super League try, and well, everything that would have just been said at half-time might just have gone out the window.
Yeah, I think I've really got that commentator's curse, because I literally just said Saints, the main thing is to start well, and that couldn't have been a worse start for Saints. That is disastrous for them to firstly not field the kick, and then for them not to get set really and get a defensive line, and then for the Leeds to just go over then is, you know, that's really not ideal for Saints at all, and that'll be really frustrating for the players who've probably just had a really tough team talk at half time. For them to come out and concede straight away is definitely not what they would have wanted. So yeah, I'm sure Leeds are very buzzing with that, and Saints need to work harder there.
That might be the fifth time in this game that Saints haven't dealt with a bouncing ball properly, and they got away with it on a couple of occasions, not on this time.
Yeah.
And Melanie Howard, the try scorer, will now look to convert her own. Up she steps. A little bit of a breeze blowing around here. She struck it pretty well. Just pushed it to the right-hand side of the stick, so it will stay 14 points to 4. The interesting, we said it was interesting the half-time talk with St Helens. I wonder what was being said behind the posts.
Yeah, I think, you know, we've got some great leaders in the Saints team, and Jodie always speaks really well, and there's a lot of good leaders who will definitely be geeing up the team and saying let's go again. That's not the start that we wanted, but I think Saints, I think it's fair for me to say, I know I am slightly biased being a Saints player, but I don't think that is the quality of Saints that they have shown yet so far in this game. I think they'll be really disappointed with that, because that is very unlike them and out of character, I would say, for a Saints side. We're usually a lot more structured and solid, and not usually making so many errors.
So Sutherland plays the ball on the 30, and Leeds now looking to back that try up with a good set with ball in hand.
Good work.
A real kind of punch on the nose for Saints early on in this game, as Dainton looks to go through a gap on that left-hand side.
Phoebe off that ball. Phoebe, you're square now, you're good.
Ruck speed continues to be fast. As Leeds bring it up the middle.
Move. Keep taking your steps. Hold.
Referee Oliver Salmon just keeping both teams honest around the play of the ball. Bennett. Now they come out to the right-hand side, and Tally Breyer looking to try and find some space over on this edge after some good work from Evan instead.
Go 5.
Ruby Bruce acting half to Bennett, who'll just look to try and put a kick in. But really good take, goalkeeper-esque from Danny McGifford, just plucking that one out of the sky. So
yeah, that's a lot better.
2.
Saints just dealing with the kick on that occasion. Kira Bennett trying to turn them round, but it's the home side with ball back in hand, and short ball from Cunningham to Whitfield, who meets 3 defenders but still manages to force them back for a few more metres. Mottershead now at dummy half. Cunningham again. Mentioned the leadership.
Yep.
She's already in this set getting her hands on the ball and just taking a more prominent role in directing her team around the park. The St Helens captain.
Yeah, she probably had a little bit of a quiet first half, Jodie, but it's good to see her on the ball a little more in the first opening minutes of the second half.
So Whitfield plays the ball. Mottershead out to the left-hand side to Casey. Casey forced to step back inside. Does get Boots the ball. Tally Breyer stepping away from a few tackles, and could be away here, Breyer, but She's done it by
you've taken Zoe out and made
coming in behind her own players. So it will be a St Helens penalty and a golden opportunity to just try and
Zoe's then disadvantaged to try and make that tackle.
Get themselves back on the front foot and not get themselves back in the game because they're not out of it, but feels like the next score is significant.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's crucial now for Saints to complete this set and for them to use the ball in the way that they can and, you know, not make those errors that they have and you know, find some better attacking shape.
Oh, Mottershead through a gap, still going, manages to keep hold of the ball, nearly lost it. But again, Katie Mottershead finding some space. Cunningham, she looks to go herself. Can she force through? Stopped a couple of metres short. There's a Leeds player getting some attention in backfield, so there's a defender down. Harris maybe needed to try and put the ball out wide, but the numbers were. Now Saints come back the other way. Whitfield will look for her second try. She's up over the line. Can she get it down? Held up.
Tackle 5. Tackle 5 for me.
So Saints will get one more crack at the line. I think we're just going to pause here. So that the Leeds player can get some attention, get out of the way. Just trying to see who it is that's down.
I thought that was Vicky was going to be in again then for a second, but it was great defence from Leeds on the line there. I think there's that Ruby Bruce and
there's a few players that
Ebony Stead just getting themselves under there and making sure that she got the ball down. Yeah, definitely. I think we're fortunate, Saints, that we have got some really strong, powerful runners who definitely lay the platform for the backs, and you know that's what Vicky and the other forwards managed to do, and that's when they're doing their job well if they are doing that. So I think Saints will be happier with now being in a better attacking position.
Incident again. I think it's Grace Short who's down.
Oh no.
Quite sure what's happened there. It does look like they're holding her head. It's maybe a neck injury, so they will take their time with this, rightfully so, just to make sure that Grace Short is okay.
Yeah.
Just see that reverse angle, maybe a little bit of friendly fire. It might be accidental, obviously, head on head with Kira Bennett.
Yeah, she doesn't look too good there, just after maybe taking a little knock.
So both teams 5 minutes into the second half, just with an opportunity to take a little bit of a breather. Saints starting to gain a little bit of momentum after a horror show start to the second half.
Yeah.
Conceding straight from the kickoff. And the stretcher is out, so there is some obvious concern here for Grace Short. Hopefully all just precautionary.
Yeah. I think both teams are just going to regroup and just keep themselves moving, just keep the bodies ticking over and just making sure that they're not tightening up or cooling down, and just making sure that they're ready to go again when the whistle goes.
So she is now back into an upright position, which is a positive sign, you would think.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like they're going to take her onto the stretcher, which again is a positive. But every necessary precaution being taken with Grace Short here, who's now back up on her feet.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the heat must definitely be taking its toll, because both teams now are making their way to a shadier spot on the pitch and just having a moment there in the shade, just making sure that they don't get too hot, and take the resting moments when they can to make sure they're in the best shape to go again when the whistle goes.
And another opportunity for coaches to get some messages on, speak to their side, as Grace Short is very slowly led towards the sideline.
Yeah, pleased to see that she's on her feet and she is making her way off the field to be looked at by medical staff, so hopefully it's nothing too serious.
Erin, I forgot about that. I was going to say, just let it short. Yeah, I know.
So we will get back underway shortly. St Helens will have one more
Wait there, Vicky, please.
crack at the Leeds line.
Tap back forward, tackle 5, go.
So Mottershead brings us out to the left-hand side. Casey takes the ball above her head and then feeds it out to Cunningham on the left. Cunningham, Hardcastle will look to just try and crash through, but the Leeds defence does well. And that is the last, so it will be a turnover. I can understand the logic in trying to put Amy Hardcastle through there rather than looking for a kick. It's not a bad place to turn the ball around.
I don't think it is a bad place to turn the ball around there because it is really hard to come off your own line. You know, and you've got to have some brave carries here because Saints will be really fired up to want to work hard and have good line speed. So it's not a terrible end to the set for Saints.
So Lacey back onto the field.
Okay. Work, hold.
Ruby Bruce at dummy half brings us out to the left-hand side. Mel Howard, who's really growing into this game on a Betfred Women's Super League debut. Yeah. Again with ball in hand, gets the team moving over to that left-hand side. Leeds have really moved the ball around this afternoon, used both edges, but ball goes to ground there. Grace Field unable to
a little error from Grace there.
Bring that in cleanly. Puts her hand up in apology for her teammates, but again, Saints give it an opportunity to try and chip away at this lead.
Yeah, and it feels as if Saints haven't had too many opportunities to attack. So they'll be wanting to make the most of this opportunity now.
So over they come to the left-hand side. Casey just keeps it in hand on this occasion and rides a big contact.
Onside, keep working. Hold, chopped in.
So we are hearing from the sideline at the moment that interchange has not been classified as a HIA. We'll have to see what more information we can get on that one. Very short, but it is St Helens on the front foot here. Mott's head
shove there
out to the right-hand side. Tension's just starting to rise here. As St Helens bang on the door. Mott's head, Cunningham out the back. Casey, short ball.
Alex
Bridge just a couple of metres away.
Oh no!
This is the last.
Go 5.
They'll come short side. Casey back inside to Cunningham. Really good hands from Caitlin Casey. Cunningham's going to be held over the line, and it's Casey who's now down in back play. I think there's going to be a penalty here for a late hit as well, possibly a high contact.
Yeah, I think Saints will be pleased with that, asking a few more questions of the Leeds defence, but Leeds coping really well with, you know, the Saints were throwing quite a bit of shape at them then, and Leeds managed to deal with that quite well, so I think they'll be pleased with that as well.
We'll see it again. Casey just back inside. Cunningham looked out of the play there, really, but injected herself back in. So it's a little bit of invention from St Helens, throwing something a bit different. Casey back up on her feet, which is good news.
Yeah.
St Helens with a full set in their pocket again to try and get themselves over the line and just get a foothold back in this game after a disappointing start to the second half.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I know he's committed, but he's just still contact with the head. It's low force, so...
So Mottershead will get us back underway. Plays it to Cunningham. Cunningham looking for Casey to just try and find a gap in that line. That gap closed up pretty quickly, so Saints forced back 8 metres away from the try line. Mottershead again, short ball to Sutherland. Sutherland will try and do the job herself. She stopped a couple of metres short and then forced onto her back, so it will be a slower play. Mottershead, ball back inside. Looking for that unders ball a lot, St Helens. No joy so far in getting over the line. Now they'll look to find an edge. Sahili, Hardcastle. She'll try and go over herself. She's over the line. Can she get the ball down? Held up, says the referee.
Yeah.
Just for a second, I thought she'd managed to do it, but she gets back to that 10, plays it quickly. Alex Bridge again. 5 metres away from the line, hand in the air from the referee, so this is the last, and again they look for the short side. Cunningham, Hardcastle, ball to McCall, who's been forced into touch over on this near side. McGifford, apologies, who was forced into touch.
Yeah. I mean, good work from Stacey. I think they went back left again on this side with Amy Hardcastle and Danny McGifford, and for me it looked like it was more on and set to go to the right-hand side.
It's a great defensive effort.
It is a great defensive effort.
Tally Bryant.
I think Leeds will be really pleased with themselves there to keep out Saints in a repeat set.
Time for the Rhinos from Featherstone Rovers, Tally Bryant. So
Hold!
big intervention from her on that near side, keeping St Helens out, keeping that 10-point lead intact for the Leeds Rhinos.
Hold!
Great to have you with us here on the Sportsman Rugby League as one of our 20 live games this season. Here's Kira Bennett getting ball in hand, and Leeds could be away. Really nice work from the spine. It was Ruby Bruce who got on the end of that ball, and it's a repeat set. 6 again, says the referee. So Leeds on the march. Up the middle as
Leeds looking like they've got good energy and really working and testing Saints' defence.
Northorpe, one of the try scorers, plays the ball, and here's another one of the try scorers, Howard. A lot of anticipation about what she might bring to this Leeds team. The early indications are good in this game. Looking like a triple substitution on the way from St Helens down on this near side with Shani Crowell.
Oh, that's a great hit there from Jodie Cunningham.
Bennett, a little bit of misdirection, brings the ball up to the line. She finds Jenna Greening, who's brought down just short of the 20-metre mark. Bruce in at acting half.
Find your space.
I think Kira's looked pretty good in the halves as well. I mean, she's obviously out of position, usually playing 9, but she's...
Oh, and the Northrop through. Sutherland does well to just stick with her. She's got such good distribution, hasn't she, Bennett? That pass, that long
really
pass, such a weapon in the halves. Howard out to the left. There's numbers here if Leeds can use them. St Helens' defence does really well. Phoebe Hook doing a great job to close down the numbers, and just when it looks like Leeds had the overlap, the scramble defence from St Helens is just enough to keep them out.
See what's our clock saying?
Yeah.
See what's our clock saying? What's your clock
I
saying?
think Saints are making those 3 substitutes now, so that's Shani Crowell, Darcy Stott and Lucy McComb coming onto the field, and Vicky Whitfield, Jordan Sutherland and Erin Stott just having a break.
Always going to be a big part of the game in this weather, that bench rotation, and which coaching staff gets it right.
Yeah, it's really crucial to make sure you get those subs on at the right time.
Vicky Whitfield turned the tide a little bit, but there's an error. Would it be a penalty for a rip out?
Yeah, it looked like there was a hand in for me there, just the way that the ball managed to bounce out.
Pinged out,
yeah.
It would suggest that there was some intervention in there. We'll see it again.
On the line, Leeds.
Yeah, there's a little slap at the ball, isn't there? A little bit of
both, yeah.
But it is St Helens who benefit one way or the other with the penalty. So Shani Crowell back into the action, her first carry of this second spell.
Square now, work.
Stopped 5 metres short of the halfway line. Mottershead is in at dummy half again. She'll play it to Casey. Casey out to Cunningham. Cunningham to Sahili. St Helens using full width for the pitch here as Hardcastle engages 4 Leeds defenders, still trying to steal a few extra metres. Eventually is stopped. Mottershead. That's a bridge. Shape stacked out to the right hand side.
Correct, yeah. Free.
Casey, Harris up to the line.
Great ball to Shona Hoyle.
Shona Hoyle could be through all the way here. Take it on the fullback. Shona Hoyle scores. St Helens hit back at a crucial time, and Shona Hoyle hits a wonderful line and goes through.
Yeah, you can see there that she's absolutely buzzing to score that try. It was a great line, a great short ball from Zoe Harris, and Shona just comes powerfully, just steaming onto that line, and manages to get the 4 points. Really, really pleased for Shona and for Saints. I think that's, you know, a lot better from them there, and they'll be made up to score.
Yeah, just finds the half gap in between the two defenders. Zoe Harris with the vision to just put her through with a flat pass, and Shona Hoyle doesn't need much invitation once she finds herself in open space.
Definitely not.
I'm all good. I just wanted to make it all the way over here. Should have called up, I keep forgetting.
The Saints with an opportunity here to.
So Lucy McCone taking the kicking opportunities,
as well,
and yeah,
she's brushed that over.
Much better from Lucy. So I think Zoe might be a little relieved that she's on the field and she doesn't have to take the pressure of taking those kicks. But yeah, a great kick from Lucy there, and Saints go 6 points. 6 points to the total there. So yeah, 14-10, and it's a really competitive game. I'm really enjoying it. I'm actually gutted that I'm not part of it. I'm really missing this. But pleased to see both sides performing well and making a real competitive game for Women's Super League.
Yeah, after a real statement performance, an interesting game for a different reason last night as Wigan blew York apart. This one is just as enthralling for all the right reasons, as Hardcastle just weighs up two Leeds defenders and takes them on.
I think Saints are just looking a little bit better at the minute. I know they've just come off the back of scoring, but I think just prior to that as well, they just seemed like they had a bit more energy about them, a bit of better go forward, better shape, people pushing, running lines, which is, what I'm used to seeing from Saints. But oh God, I just unlucky from Shona there, just not quite getting her hands on the ball and just making an error. So Leeds are back in possession.
Dominate!
So Leeds back on the ball, and Dainton will bring it out to the left-hand side. She's been lively this afternoon in that slightly unfamiliar position of centre. Dual code international, of course, Bethan Dainton, Wales Rugby League captain. Harlequins and Wales in her rugby union days. Full-time soldier as well. Bennett leads again, looks to come out to the right-hand side, and Ebony Stead has stepped straight through the line. Cunningham gets across. Has Stead got that down? Yes, she has.
Great try, great try.
A moment of magic from Ebony Stead pushes the advantage back out for Leeds Rhinos.
Just seemed like maybe a little bit of miscommunication there between Amy Hardcastle and Alex Bridge. I think it just seemed like, I don't know who's a person that was to take. I'll have to have a little look back on it, but just seemed like a little bit of standoffish from her.
You can see it again. It's Bennett. There's an underline, isn't there? There's a misdirection runner.
But a great work there to, a little footwork, nice work, speed and powerful getting over the line.
Well, Emily Stead, one of 6 players promoted into the first team setup this year for Leeds Rhinos. Did feature last season, but 6 tries in 4 appearances coming into this game. Another one to her name this afternoon, and the timing of the tries, just such an interesting flow to this game. So Helens striking out just before half-time, Leeds scoring from the kick-off, and then just as St Helens get themselves on the scoreboard again, minutes later, Leeds hit back.
Yeah.
So Mel Howard with the opportunity to convert an 8-point lead back into a 10-point lead. "20 minutes left in this game. Every result still feeling very possible.
Yeah, it definitely does feel a little bit up in the air for me. I think, Saints will start to be feeling the pressure now, because obviously they will want to win this game ultimately, but as the clock runs down and the opportunities become fewer and fewer, the pressure really starts to build. So they need to come out now and really switch on. I think Leeds are obviously feeling a little bit more comfortable with the scoreline and a little bit more settled, so they can sort of, take the step back, if not a step back, but don't need to, force anything too much with the lead. So
backwards.
half error from the kickoff, it does go backwards, so Leeds survive. And I think one of the interesting things about Leeds coming into this game, one of the questions was how they're going to respond to that Challenge Cup defeat. That one has gone forward, so errors just starting to creep in. Maybe just as tiredness, fatigue starts to set in.
Yeah, Saints just making sure they're forming the scrum there, trying to get the clock stopped. I think they are definitely feeling a little bit of pressure just to make sure they've got as many attacking opportunities as possible.
Neither team really able to take this game by the scruff of the neck so far. Neither team able to get themselves in control. Hardcastle will just ramp that ball in, try and take on Jenna Greening on this near side. Motter's head comes to the short side again and scoots, as she's done a few times, and again finds some joy. 5 or 6 extra metres made there. Shani Crow will come on the short side as well and look to try and crash her way through the line. Thinks about the offload, does get the arm free. Eventually wrapped up. It's taken 4 or 5 different Leeds defenders. A little bit of disagreement going on here. You can feel that the tension in this game has just gone up a notch as we reach the final 20 minutes.
I don't think there's anything too much in that. Hopefully the referee will just have a little word and let the game play on.
Push back inside it, just you've got that play. Oh yeah, you go to your tackles.
So we do just get on with it. Casey, Harris, bit of misdirection. There's numbers here if they can use them, and they're going to score. St Helens strike back. Lucy McComb goes over on the right-hand side, and this game takes another twist.
Yeah, really, really pleasing that from Zoe Harris to Lucy McComb. I think just a little bit of space opened up out wide for them there, and Lucy's not been on the pitch too long, but already made a big impact, and she'll be really pleased to cross over there and get the points.
No, as she said, she's only been on the field about 5 minutes, 6 points to her name already, an opportunity to make it 8 here, assuming that she continues on with the kicking duties.
Yeah, and I think Saints, the sort of the message now, I think, will just be more of that, do that. You know, I know it sounds so easy to up here, like, do that and score. But, you know, when they are in an attacking position, they have got good shape. They've got so much threat on the ball, you know, to use that. And I think, you know, we've been a little bit caught up in one-up carries and sort of drilling it down the middle. But when they do shift it, they are really dangerous. And I think, you know, Leeds struggled then a little bit to defend that for one of the first times in this game. So that's something that Saints need to...
McCall struck it well again. Doesn't quite have the radar on this occasion. The legs were there, but decent effort.
Tight game, yeah.
6-point game, 17 minutes left on the clock, and we are none the wiser as to who will be taking the win in this round 1 clash, the Betfred Women's Super League. Such a beautifully set up season now already, with the storylines that we've got, the emergence of Wigan, the competitiveness of these two teams, that Betfred Challenge Cup final on the horizon.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm really, really buzzing about this season. I think it's going to be the best one yet, just with how all the teams are shaping up.
Oh, and an error
again,
from St Helens. Hardcastle unable to bring that in. It was rifled at her.
Yeah.
Maybe if she'd just stepped out of the way, that might have gone out on the full, but unable to bring it in cleanly.
A lovely little kick from Leeds.
No, I think it would have probably just dropped short, actually. Maybe she had to come across and try and deal with that, but yeah, really unconventional, tricky kickoff to try and deal with. And Leeds again find themselves in good field position after conceding, so the cut and thrust of this game continues.
I think
Frankie Blakely onto the field now for the Rhinos, feeds it out to the left-hand side. Dainton stopped 10 metres in from the sideline.
Yeah, I think if Leeds can score here now, that makes it really, really difficult then for Saints to come back in the time left in the game. So Leeds will be, you know, looking to get some more points on the board here, and you know this game's not definitely done yet.
So out the back they come. Shannon Lacey trying to bust her way through the line, stopped 8 metres short. Big set in the game, this feels significant. Leeds come out to the right-hand side. Jenna Greening almost able to just roll away 3, but she stopped. This is the last. One more tackle for Leeds to try and do something with. Jenna Greening gets up very gingerly, plays the ball. She looks in some bother. Howard stabs a kick through, but it's got too much on it. St Helens will get a 20-metre tap, and after a promising set, it's a disappointing end from a Leeds perspective. Jenna Greening has gone down in back play.
Yeah, just looks like she's struggling there, maybe with a little knee injury.
She has got some strapping on that left leg, so
fixing on the edge here on the
maybe
right-hand side.
Result of whatever that ongoing issue is. Big contacts going in. Defence from both teams this afternoon has been very, very physical.
Yeah.
Shani Crowell now trying to just march her team upfield. Motter's head. Casey will just put the ball under her arm.
A little carry from Caitlin Casey.
It's a half-back carrying like a middle, but doing well for it.
Yeah.
Motter's head. She's not afraid of going herself either. Cunningham bringing it into the line and finding Bridge. So Saints making decent progress in this set. Let's try and get themselves into a scoring position. Cunningham again. Casey. Motter's head can choose either side of the ruck. It's to the right-hand side at the cunt. Offload back to Motter's head. She stopped 15 metres away. The hand is in the air from the referee. Last opportunity for St Helens to try and do something with it in this set. Out it comes to Cunningham. Steps back inside, maybe just runs out of options, and he's stopped about 8 metres away.
Yeah, I'm not sure they maybe knew that was the last tackle then. It's, you know, not usual. Jodie's not much of a kicker, so definitely weren't thinking to go to her to kick it, so maybe they were unaware there of the last tackle.
Just maybe on some of these last tackle options for Saints, are we seeing the absence of Faye Gaskin?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's such an important part of the Saints team.
Yeah, Faye's definitely been missed today, kicking game, and just her organisation in the halves and, you know, the shape and the structure that she creates. So yeah, she's a big loss for Saints, and it means that people are playing out of position, which, you know, always can cause a little bit of confusion.
It was a real shiner that she picked up in that semi-final.
Yeah, definitely. I think there was some definite battered and bruised bodies after that game. It was a real physical one with York.
Well, you were covered in blood when I saw you at the end.
That's a stray arm from Shani Crowell there. I'm surprised that didn't
play on, but he is going to pull it back for the penalty.
Yeah. A definite high tackle there. Just Shani not maybe quite getting her body in the right position to make the tackle properly.
Roughly. How long? What? 13 left.
13 minutes left, says the referee. Feels like still a long time in this game, the way that things have been going. It's a safe option for the penalty, just putting the ball up towards the halfway line. Leeds will just want to play the rest of this game with ball in hand as much as possible. Try and stay in control. As Ella Donnelly goes up over the 40. Ruby Bruce at dummy half. Big contact goes in.
Go on. She's out of control.
That was Erin Stott. Leeds now coming out to the left-hand side. They've got the full width of the pitch to work with, but it's not the quickest ruck in the world, so Saints able to get set in defence. Ebony Stead brings it into the line. Saints will be keeping an extra eye on her after that try about 10 minutes or so ago. Frankie Blakely looking to force her way through. This is the last, so Leeds will come and look for the one-pointer. It's Mel Howard who puts boot to ball. I think she's just pushed that wide. She has.
Yeah, interesting
Leeds trying
choice
to push it out
there,
to a 7-point get. Still 12 minutes left. I suppose a two-score lead would feel like a big amount to climb, wouldn't it, from a St Helens perspective. From a Leeds perspective, just feel that they had a little bit more margin to work with.
Yeah. Just looking at Saints there, it looks as if Shona Hoyle's come off on the right-hand side, and possibly Erin Stott's in the back row, which, you know, usually she would be in the centres, but it looks like they're missing Shona out there.
Well, Whitfield and Sutherland are also preparing to come back on. So it's being sent on with a job to do. One big stint left in this 10 minutes remaining in this game. Crowell, who takes a rest as Whitfield comes on in her place, and St Helens on the front foot now with Zoe Harris. Mottershead, Whitfield, like she did in the first half, straight into the action and making some good meters.
Powerful run, takes a couple of Leeds players to take her down.
Cunningham back on the inside to Sutherland, who rides a tackle and eventually he's brought down, but Saints to within striking distance on the last tackle here. They come to the right-hand side. Harris, she'll put boot to ball. It's a bit of a wobbly one, but that's come off the Leeds' hand. I think it's been brought in eventually by Olivia Whitehead on that far side. So she will play the ball deep inside her own half. Every carry now, every tackle just feels so much more significant because a break or an error or any kind of moment of magic could be so important in the way, in deciding the way that this game plays out. As Sutherland wraps up Jenna Greening.
Yeah, and I think both teams are starting to feel it now. Both teams are looking just a little tired, a little bit slower. Saints getting off the line and defending. You know, it's been a tough game, so both teams have had to work really hard to be in this position. So there's definitely going to be some tired bodies out there.
So not a huge amount of progress made by Leeds on that set. The hand is in the air from the ref. The kick will come from deep. It takes a deflection, but not played at, says the referee. So this is anyone's ball. Harris does well to get it, but then knocks on. And Leeds could be away here. Ruby Bruce has the field in front of her. Can she make it? Brilliant covering defence from Danny McGifford. But still Leeds with a full set on the try line, and the numbers are there on the left-hand side if they can get it out. Bennett puts it across, but this is going to get pulled back for a forward pass.
Oh my.
And an opportunity goes begging for Leeds, and what a crazy 30 seconds of rugby league.
Yes. That was wild. What a great break from Ruby Bruce, and a great covering tackle from Danny McGifford there to get back. And then I thought that was a sure 100% certain try from Leeds there. That I think Saints only had 2 defenders facing Leeds' 4 or 5, so I thought that was a sure 4 points.
Well, Kira Bennett, who has been outstanding from dummy half and halfback this afternoon, just coming up with a cardinal sin of just overcooking that pass and pushing it forwards.
Wow.
And, well, there's multiple bodies down. We'll have a look at it again. It's the error from Zoe Harris under a huge amount of pressure, and it just drops into the hands of Ruby Bruce, who doesn't quite have the legs to get away from Danny McGifford. Phoebe Hook there as well, chasing her down, and then, well, all the numbers are stacked to the left-hand side. Dainton goes in at dummy half, and, just they'll look back at that one, and
they probably
from behind the sofa probably in video review. Because that probably kills the game off if that goes in.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%, definitely. I think they'll be really disappointed not to finish that. A great opportunity there that they had out wide, and you know, a great work from Leeds to pick up on that loose ball. So
Zoe Harris is down in backfield, which is the delay here. There's been a few players picking up a little bit of treatment. This is the incident that led to the injury. It's Bennett that makes the tackle on her. Great contact from the Leeds number 9, and as we said, the ball falling straight into the hands of Ruby Bruce. Harris just receiving a little bit of attention.
Yeah, maybe just
sat up now, so hopefully okay.
A little bust nose, maybe. Just a little knock there. Yeah, it looked like Kira just caught her with maybe her arm on her nose, and then Zoe maybe led to the knock on, as I think Zoe just brought her hand to her face, which meant she lost hold of the ball. But she seems fine. She's back in play now, and we scrum down on the 10-metre line.
Well, half an hour ago in this game, Ruby Bruce might have backed herself to go the distance there, but she's done a lot of work in a long stint and maybe just slightly ran out of gas towards the end.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Harris back on her feet, feeds the scrum, and St Helens have the ball in hand, but they also have 90 metres to try and make up here. And Not a huge amount of time to work with if they are to take the first 2 points on offer this season.
No,
Vicky Whitfield, though, with a big carry. Just rolls up the field. She's got the arm loose here. There could be an offload on. The held call comes in. Mottershead jumps out and then passes the ball to Sutherland, who bounces off a couple of tackles. She's still going up over the 40, so the St Helens middle's doing a good job early on in this set. Crucial set.
Ball from Jodie to Alex Bridge.
Drops that off to Bridge. It's the Saints.
The crowd are really calling for holding down in the ruck, yeah.
Again, Caitlin Casey just deciding to go herself, but pushed back towards the halfway line. So a little bit of momentum just lost in this set from St Helens' perspective. This is the last. Harris puts boots a ball. That is spiralling around all over the place, but really well taken on the back foot from Olivia Whitehead. The kick pressure is good, though, from St Helens. So Leeds restricted in metres on the return. Just feels like everybody watching this game is just holding their breath, waiting for something to happen that's going to break this wide open. Greening, 3 St Helens defenders there to meet her as Cunningham goes back in for more and eventually brought down on the 30-metre mark. It's a slow play, but that won't be too much of a problem from a Leeds perspective. But another forward pass. The error's starting to creep in.
Yeah, frustrating.
And a golden opportunity again for St Helens.
They probably don't need to really do that at this point as well, you know, with them being in front. They probably don't need to force the extra pass. There's not loads of time left in the game. So, you know, they don't need to do too much more. Keep hold of it, complete your sets, work, kick long, let St Helens work out their own half, you know, but unfortunately they've made that little error and now Saints find themselves in a much better attacking position.
So just await whilst Leeds get the numbers right around the scrum. Kira Bennett going in at scrum half, and Mottershead now from loose forward brings us out to the left-hand side. Hardcastle takes on Greening, rides the tackle well up towards the 20-metre mark. Mottershead, Bridge, another player that's really grown into this game.
Yeah, really pleased to see Alex out there doing well.
Cunningham. Whitfield could be through again. Whitfield for the line. Vicky Whitfield gets her second of the afternoon.
So crucial.
And with 5 minutes left on the clock, Saints have the opportunity to level this up.
Wow. Great little ball there. I think it was from Jodie. Just fed Vicky on a short line, and Vicky just powers away through and gets the ball over the line at such a crucial point. I think Leeds will be really frustrated with themselves there for making that error and giving the ball to Saints in such a good attacking position, and now them coming up with the points.
There's the line from Whitfield, just picks the gap perfectly, and she had a lot of work to do to finish that. She had to make sure that she got the ball free and wasn't held up. She did a really good job.
Yeah, definitely.
And now, well, what a kick. What an important kick this is.
Last 5 minutes now coming in.
Yeah, a little bit of pressure
really
on
are
for
being
Lucy
held now.
McComb, yeah.
Lucy McComb, not normally on kicking duty, but this is a big one. Up she steps, strikes it well, has the accuracy. We are tied up at 20 points apiece here in the Betfred Women's Super League. Round 1, delivering the goods.
What a game.
What a finish we have got on our hands.
5 minutes.
Yeah, really competitive from both sides here. They've really been battling all game, and now it's all square on the points on the board. So it's, you know, a big ask now for both sides, but they're going to have to finish even stronger if they want to win this game.
So again, they go for that kickoff over to the near side. Hardcastle wide to it on that occasion, and the wind now firmly in St Helens' sails after that Vicky Whitfield try. That clock on your screen, just a guide. Probably about 4 minutes left in this game after some of the stoppages that we've had for injuries in the second half. Sutherland up towards the 40. The crowd really getting into this now. Both benches getting into this game now. So many classic encounters between these two teams over the years. Two juggernauts of the women's game, and we've got another one on our hands here, live and exclusive on the Sportsman. Great to have you with us.
I think Saints as well, missing Faye Gaskin at this crucial point of the game because she's usually the drop goal taker. So I think, you know, Zoe Harris might have a go here.
She
but
does have a go.
Doesn't quite
now,
come off for her.
I was going to say it was interesting if that was play that, but as it is, it's wrapped up by Kieran Bennett anyway. We've already seen Leeds attempt the drop goal earlier on in the game. It was missed, and that feels like a big miss now.
Yeah.
As the clock ticks down. Has been a very, very even game.
Yeah, I think overall it has been really. Both teams just really battling it out, and it's been a great game to watch. I'm really gutted that I've not been part of it.
Shouts for another full pass, and the referee obliges, and that's 3 times now in the last 10 minutes of this game that Leeds have come up with that simple forward pass error. One of them would have put the game to bed. 2 of them have given St Helens an attacking platform that could just swing the game in their favour.
It's not something you often see, really, a forward pass in the women's game. I think just maybe a bit of timing issue there for Leeds, and just, you know, maybe not the pass and the timing of the run, just not quite getting that right. I think, you know, people playing out of positions, Kira in the halves is just...
and then an error from St Helens, so the game swings again. Dainton trying to get away. Now, ordinarily, with about 2 minutes left, Emily, I'd ask you to start having a think about your player of the match, but we could yet have a hero.
Tough, yeah, I mean, there's been great performances from both sides.
Well, I'll give you a minute or so
I'll take the
to
time.
think about
I'll
it.
take the time to sit on it and think
There's
about it.
still a lot that could happen in this game as Bennett fires into the line. And that pass just goes behind. It has gone backwards, so Leeds maintain position. They might just be thinking about trying to get themselves in range for a drop goal.
Definitely.
We've seen Howard have one go already as Leeds move it back into the middle of the park. What a way to announce herself in the Women's Super League that would be if she could score the winner here. Important meters made by Shannon Lacey, and this could be the one. Out it comes to Howard, decides not to kick. Out they come again. Leeds still keeping it alive. Out they come to left-hand side. Ball goes to the ground. It's frantic. And then the error comes.
Oh, wow.
And Leeds just unable to make it count, but
and breathe.
There's maybe a minute left. The clock on your screen is just the guide. We haven't got a clock in the stadium. I'm guessing there's about 60 seconds for someone to come up with something in this game.
Yeah. I really thought Leeds were going to get in then and get over the line. They just looked like there was a lot of space, a lot of disjointed defensive line from Saints, and I really thought Leeds were going to get the better of them, so Saints can breathe a sigh of relief.
Good carry from Jodie Cunningham, getting her team on the front foot. A real captain's knock from her in this second half. Here's Sahili trying to apply some footwork and get herself through. Wow. So there it is. 80 minutes of rugby league, and we have been unable to find a winner here at the Totally Wicked Stadium.
Competitive game, real battle. Both teams showing, you know, great work with the ball. Some great hits we've seen in that game as well. And I think probably 20-all is a fitting result for both sides. It's always so tough to lose in the last minutes of the game, especially if it's to a drop goal. So, I mean, as a Saints player, I'm pleased that didn't happen.
It almost felt like it felt like everyone wanted that game to go on a bit longer. Almost a bit of an anticlimax when the final whistle went.
Definitely.
It felt like we were going to get something. We were going to get just a moment that would decide this game. But as you say, 20 points all, probably a fitting result on the balance of play. Both teams good in parts. They'll be frustrated with others. Leeds will be frustrated. They led for so long but unable to get it done. I will now come back to you, Emily, for your Betfred player of the match.
I think I'm definitely going to have to give it to Vicky Whitfield there, scoring 2 tries, and at crucial moments she's carried really strong throughout the whole game, real powerful runs and put in the hard work to lay the platform for Saints. So yeah, I'm going to give the player of the match to Vicky Whitfield.
So there we have it, the tale of the tape. St Helens 20, Leeds Rhinos 20 in round 1 of the Betfred Women's Super League. 80 minutes, thoroughly entertaining action here at the Totally Wicked Stadium. There is your Betfred player of the match, Vicky Whitfield. 2 tries, and 2 times as well she came off the bench and just immediately got Saints rolling forward. A player who's given so much to that shirt over the years, of course. And we can just have a look back then on how the action unfolded. This is the first try. This feels like a long time ago now. Yeah. Kira Bennett muscling her way over. So much has happened since, but just that presence of mind from dummy half to see the half gap and jump through it. And then very similar, this one, Emily, the short range try. Yeah. Seen a few of those this afternoon, but just again really on the spot thinking from Leeds.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you say, quite a few of the tries that we're seeing in the highlight reel now are just little short lines and crashing over the line. There wasn't too much expansive, fancy play coming from either side, and the defence
St Helens getting themselves
been
back
good
into the game in the first half.
Yeah.
Vic Whitfield, as we've mentioned, her first of 2 tries, and it looks really simple, but it's such a clever line, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and it's great work there from the quick play of the ball to get them in a good attacking position.
And then this almost straight from the kickoff in the second half. Melanie Howard going over for her first try.
Great little dummy, show and
stepping
go.
Back inside, and
the footwork there.
Felt at that point that Leeds were going to get themselves in control, but it never really happened, did it? And then this from Shona Hoyle, again a really clever line, just finding some space as neither team able to take full control of the game.
Yeah.
Shona Hoyle going through to score.
A great determined run from Shona there. She's really hard to stop when she comes flying onto those balls. And then Leeds return very quickly after that try there with
Ebony Stead with the
Stead,
footwork
just
to
great
jump
work,
through the line.
Really hard for Saints to deal with there. I think Alex and Amy Hardcastle just sort of switched off. Jodie does her best to try and stop her, but she manages to get the ball down.
And then this is St Helens getting themselves back on top, just working it through the hands of Lucy McCollum.
The better of the tries from Saints in terms of attacking shape and going through hands. And Lucy McComb, as we said earlier, not been on the pitch too long, but managed to get her hands on the ball and crash over for the try.
So St Helens, who've been playing catch-up, this is the first time that they've restored parity in the game since about 15-20 minutes in, and it's Whitfield again crashing over. You can see what it means.
Such a great moment for Vicky, but I think Jodie all game has been just taking the ball to the line and just throwing those little short passes to the forwards and just really working the Leeds defence, making them make decisions and work a little bit harder. And then on that occasion they just got the better of Leeds, should I say.
Leeds will be frustrated that they didn't get over the line having led for so long, but given the nature of the defeat in the semi-final last week as well, I feel like they'll take a lot of confidence from that performance.
I think Leeds will be buzzing with that performance. I really do. I think, Saints have obviously made it to the final in Wembley, and I think they have come here and wanted to prove a point, Leeds, that they are, a top side, which they are, and they've been a really competitive side, and they've performed really well, a lot better performance than what we've seen in the semi-final. So I think, although it's a draw for both sides, I think probably Leeds will be the happier of the two sides from that. I think probably Saints will be a little bit disappointed with their performance there. So yeah, I think Leeds definitely looking more like themselves and like the team that we know that they are in this women's competition. So I think Lois will be pleased overall, and although like we said, there's stuff for both sides to work on, a lot of positives to take from this game as well.
So 20 points apiece, it finishes here at the Totally Wicked Stadium. We can now head pitchside to hear from the Betfred player of the match, Vicky Whitfield.
Vicky, congratulations on a player of the match performance. What pleased you the most about your performance today?
I think it was just how we stuck in. I think we come out a little bit flat today after a really tough semi-final in the Challenge Cup against York, and I think the effects of that we were still feeling. We come out and we were probably a bit low on energy, and to turn that round last minutes of the first half and then to come out, concede a try but then stick in and grind it out to get the draw, I think that's probably the thing that I'm most pleased about.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned that it ended up in a draw. Obviously Saints were behind on the scoreboard at half time. What were the messages that Craig and Derek tried to get across to you guys for the second half?
Just to lift it. I mean, Leeds come at us with a lot of enthusiasm. Again, they had quite a heavy defeat in the Challenge Cup, so I think they came here today wanting to play and wanting to prove a point. And for us, we didn't match that energy at the start, and that was really the key message, to go out and match that energy. And at parts we did, and at parts we didn't, and we dropped off a little bit. But I think, like you said, we drew at the end, so we did claw that back, and we got that energy from somewhere.
Yeah, well, starting off on the bench and obviously getting a player of the match performance, you've definitely matched their energy there. So I'll let you get back to your teammates and enjoy the after game. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, so Vicky Whitfield, the Betfred player of the match, very happy with her personal work this afternoon, so she should be. We can now head back down pitch side for speak to one of the St Helens joint head coaches, Derek Hartman.
Derek, a draw for the opening game of the season. How pleased are you with that?
We're pleased that we've got a point. Was it a best performance? No, it wasn't. Did we expect a reaction from Leeds this week? 110%. You know, I know Lois quite well, and I know how proud she is, and they've come and really stuck it to us today.
You say you know Lois quite well. It's always a really close and well contested game between both sides. Where do you feel that the draw could have been turned into a win given a different day?
I think there's just a couple of turning points in the game. We have a scrum with 5 minutes to go, and then we come up with a wrong option and we knock on, and that's the time of the play we can have a score, or we come up with a drop goal scenario. I mean, this week we've had a bit of difference we've had to change our halves around. Our nine's just gone and done 80 minutes there, so we've learned a few things about ourselves today as well. But you know, without being disrespectful, Leeds are a great club, and especially in this competition, and Lois is a very, very proud person. So, you know, for me, we didn't come here expecting anything. We knew we'd have to fight and try and get everything we wanted. Yeah, no, like you said, you mentioned some big minutes from some players there in this heat. That must have been hard work for them, but they managed to get it across the line. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we was in a titanic struggle last week, wasn't we, in this same heat, for a 5-day turnaround like everybody else. But you know, you don't realise how much it does take out the girls. I know we watched the game last night, and we could see there was a lot of fatigue in that game. So for me, I'm really proud of the girls that we stuck to it. There's times there when people thought we were gone, and we just kept finding a way to dig back in. So was it our best performance? No. Is it the first week of the year? 100%. Thanks for that, Derek. I'll let you get back to your team. Cheers. Thank you. Thank you.
So Derek Hartman wrapping up on St Helens' performance. They left it late, but managing to get over, well, not quite getting over the line, but wrap things up at a 20 points all draw. And I tell you what, Emily, game one of the Betfred Women's Super League season. I know that we've had the Challenge Cup run and we had some fantastic drama last week, but just sets it up beautifully, doesn't it, for the rest of the year?
What a promising season it's going to be if every game can keep up to the excitement that game held. You know, I think that was a great competition and a great indication for both teams to sort of start the season, how they mean to go on. But yeah, I love to see competitive games like that and the closeness of the Women's Super League, so hopefully that'll carry on throughout the season.
We saw the performance from Wigan last night, just a statement win from them, as we've said a few times. York will obviously be reeling from that. Saints, Leeds now starting off the season with a draw. And I know we've said this before, that every season it seems to get more competitive and it seems to get closer, but it just feels like this year Wigan have almost thrown a cat amongst the pigeons with how strong that they're looking in terms of the status quo of the last few years.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, definitely. I think, Wigan, for a few seasons now, if you follow the Women's Super League, you'll know that Wigan have been building and they've been sort of finding the feet. They've got a lot of young players. Dennis Betts has come in and coached the team well, and now that they've found their feet, they're having a great season and a great couple of opening games, so they look really strong. And like I said earlier, they probably now go into the Challenge Cup final, the favourites, after having last season, not winning sort of any silverware apart from, I think, the Nines competition, and they're all of a sudden, started this season with a bang. So yeah, it's looking to be really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what all teams can do in the Women's Super League. And I think it's really hard to call, who is going to be the champions of the league, who is going to be the Challenge Cup final winners and get all the silverware this season. That's how it should be, and I think the Women's Super League has probably lacked that in the last couple of years, where we've had that evenness across a number of teams. So yeah, it's really exciting, and I'm really seeing the game developing.
Well, we've heard from the St Helens camp, so let's head pitch side again to hear from Leeds Rhinos and their head coach, Lois Forsell.
Lois, the game finished in a draw. Would you say that was a fair reflection on the result?
I think we've maybe probably been a little bit hard done by, but probably from our own sort of performance in that second half. I think the girls have been absolutely brilliant today, and I think that a win would have been just for their efforts and the desire that they showed. But just a few little areas where we maybe took our foot off the gas a little bit and Saints clinical enough to get points on us. So I think it would have been nice for us to walk away with a win. I can understand the draw, but I think that we'll take loads of positives out of it either way.
Yeah, obviously winning at half time and then it finishing in a draw must be disappointing. But what can you tell me about what pleased you about the performance, but also what frustrated you?
Just our effort and our energy to compete together. I think the 13 on the pitch at the time were working hard for each other. There were some girls who played some massive minutes in this heat, didn't rotate our front rowers, so Izzy and Ella played big 80, and girls playing out of position obviously lost the half back again, so had to shuffle. So I just think the girls' energy and desire to compete for each other and listen to the game plan and execute that better than we did last week was really, really good. So yeah, really, really proud of our group today, and looking forward to getting back in training on Tuesday and rolling on to York this weekend.
And just before you go, Lois, can you just tell us a little bit about the injured player? How is she?
Yeah, so Grace Short went off. It's she sort of got a head, but it wasn't a head knock to be fair. It's just sort of whiplash type injury. She's in the medical room now, waiting for an ambulance, but she's alert. She's okay. She's not in too much pain. So I think it's more just precautionary, and hopefully it's nothing major to worry about.
That's good to hear. Pass on our best regards.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.
So there we have it. What a start to the Betfred Women's Super League season here on the Sportsman. There'll be plenty more to come throughout the year as well. And of course, you can join us every Wednesday night for the last tackle. We'll have confirmation of our next live offering very, very soon. But for the time being, here at the Totally Wicked Stadium, it has finished all square between St Helens and Leeds. Emily, an absolute pleasure to have you with us. Of course, we'll be looking to see you back out on the field very, very soon. Wembley looming large on the horizon, but the Betfred Women's Super League is up and running, and what a start to the season we've had. We will see you next time.
We are back. More passion.
In the Betfred Challenge Cup final for 2024.
More ferocity.
Oh, my word!
More young stars to shine.
And it's Grace Banks who goes the length of the field.
Saints are on the drive for 5.
And it's St Helens who are the history makers.
The Valkyrie are hunting the three-peat.
The history makers, the first women's team to retain their title.
Being the first is an act of revolution.
Every season, a new step forward.
With the women's game on the greatest stage here at Wembley Stadium.
New challenges for the trophy.
And Beavers, big call from here, Caitlin Beavers.
New barriers broken. There's nothing like Leeds. This is the Betfred Women's Super League.